Driving to save the world from the evil Decepticons, the heroic Autobots are led by Optimus Prime. He's more than meets the eye. He's a Rohan in disguise.
Rohan? Who is this guy? Rohan? The one and only Rohan.
Thank you guys. Happy birthday to Alexis. Hello everyone and welcome back to the corner. And after a couple of weeks of hiatus due to travelling up to the Scottish Highlands with my family, the corner is back, and how better a way to get it going than with one more of my fantastic Through the Generations Transformers reviews, none other than Magic Square's Ken. No, it's not Barbie Doll's partner, it's G1 Ironhide. And if you remember from last year when I talked about Ironhide as being my very favourite Generation 1 character, we are in for a treat. So, let's look at him up. And as per my review a couple of weeks ago of Magic Square Optimus Prime 2.0, which is doing very well, thank you all by the way, we have Magic Square Ironhide's box in this new black packaging. Lovely rendition of Ironhide there on the front. Ken, Magic Square's logo, Magic Square's branding, ages 16 plus, some barcode, some outline of Ken in alt mode on the back there. Yes, great, that looks fine. Magic Square on the top, warning on the bottom, and the evil alien weird kid on the side, MS-B44. So let's open them up. Right, so inside the packaging we have Ken. And we can see him in all of his glory as his gun falls out. And you can see there, he's got a lovely painted window. He comes with his rocket pack, he comes with his missile launcher, and he comes with his gun. The rocket pack and missile launcher are iconic from More Than Meets the Eye, episode 1. We can take Ken out here. He also comes with two baggies. Baggie number 1 is a baggie full of accessories, a spare face. He's got some hands, lots of hands. He's got some glue guns and acid mixing pellet things and some little red fixers as well. And then baggie number 2 comes with the standard instruction manual and tech specs. Ken's tech specs are pretty good except for speed, which you would expect, fire, blast, courage and endurance very high, which is pretty accurate really. And so here is the bot himself, the one I've been waiting for ages. I have to say the face sculpt is pretty decent, although I do quite enjoy the shouty face as well, which I'll show you. The splash screen, windscreen looks great, especially with this metallic fleck in there. Quite a few people wishing that Prime had that metallic fleck in his windshield as well. Overall, the proportions are fantastic. He's not too leggy, he's not got really stubby short arms. He does stand quite nicely. He's got the right colour scheme. The greys are good, the dark greys are good. The backpack is quite small and compact, as you can probably see there from the side. Profile doesn't detract from the bot at all. I'm not 100% sure why, but Magic Square decided to put this dark grey on the back as well, but it doesn't look too bad. And even though the cartoon probably showed him as red all the way around, it's not the end of the world. Just see a little bit of wheel there, and obviously collapsing of the cab mode at the back there, and a little bit of gappage around here, but it's very minimal. On the top here we again have that grey plastic, which again I'm not 100% sure why they did that, but it looks okay. I kind of wish it was red as well. I don't have New Age's Ironhide version, so one of the key differentials for me is the chest and also the side profile of the chest. You can see the gappage on Magic Square's version sits very flush, everything flattens in and becomes all one big unit, which actually looks really good. That's one of the weak areas for me on the New Age figure. Once again, the instructions, although coloured and reasonably decent, do not show you anywhere how to utilise the accessories, so that is on you to go and look up the pictures online. Just quickly on the quality of the plastic, he feels a lot harder than the Magic Square 2.0 Prime plastic. Not quite as hard as, say, the Stunticons, but getting closer, somewhere in between the two. In terms of the accessories, in Modern BCI, he doesn't actually use this rocket pack to fly. He just flies of his own volition. But however, he does have this rocket launcher in his back, which you can plug them both in, but you do have to plug this rocket launcher into his poo hole. So if we take that out and put that back into the position where it's intended, you can collapse it down and have him there flying along as he did. I'm really digging the number of accessories that Magic Square are offering up with these guys these days. Obviously we've got his rocket pack I mentioned before, the rocket launcher, and his regular gun, which is well done, well molded. Looks like his weapon in some of the episodes, like Megatron's Master Plan, for example. You also get a plethora of hands, open hands, fisted hands with fingers pointing. We get sort of grasping hands, as well as his traditional fist hands. You get his little sonar detecting device, which he used in SOS Dinobot to detect the caverns moving when they first started building the Dinobots. These acid launching area pellets, and also some other little weaponry bits. And the fact that you can pop on and off the hand so easily, and the face as well, the screaming face I forgot to mention, which I really love. The fact that you can pop these bits on so easily is really great. And in fact, now that Magic Square have got some consistency going, I bet it wouldn't be too hard to try and move some of the faces from Jazz or Hound onto Ironhide, or definitely the fists as well. I've got some accessories coming from Mike's Trophy Cabinet in the States, and when they do arrive, I'm going to try them out on Ironhide on some of the others too. Right, so let's dump his accessories back in his baggie and move on to the comparison. Right, now I have to apologise, I did used to have a lot more Ironhide molds, but you and I can both probably count on one hand the number of good molds that have been made for this character through the years. So Classics or Universe Ironhide, that crackpot combination of jig-jag, zigzag parts. I never actually even opened it, it just looked horrible. I'd sold that. I also had the third-party iGear Ironhide, which was actually pretty decent and came with a plethora of accessories. That was a good figure, and there have been many others down the line, but they just have not done Generation 1 Ironhide any justice. So these are the ones that I have. I have obviously the Siege figure, Magic Square, Hot Soldiers Ironhide, which if you saw my video last year, I really do enjoy that figure. There are some good aspects to it. Generation 1, I do have the shoulder pack upgrade for him upstairs, which make him look a million times better in bot mode, but still looks terrible. And then on the end here, I've got the upgraded version of Earthrise Ironhide, because I've put on some upgraded parts, which I'll show you in alt mode. Okay, here we have Ironhide in a nice little lineup of a bunch of other Legends class figures and a couple of Hasbro figures as well. Starting from left to right, we have Magic Square's Ultra Magnus 2.0 Transporter, and at the back there is Siege Springer JP93 from the Jurassic Park set. We've got Cyclonus from New Age, Magic Square's Perceptor, my little Spike buddy at the front there, the New Age Shrapnel, obviously Magic Square Ken, Ironhide in the middle there, New Age's Brawn, and he kind of scales well with the Insecticons and Brawn, McFans Toys Trailbreaker, who is slightly taller, and that kind of works, but also at the same time the Magic Square Trailbreaker kind of levels up with him nicely, so that probably works better. MFT's Blitzwing, who's probably a little bit large, Papa Toys' Grapple at the back there, again the same on par with MFT's Blitzwing. Motormaster from Magic Square, who levels up nicely with Ironhide, and Papa Toys Magnus, who is massive. Wait a minute. What's this? Well, maybe we can do one more comparison. Just arrived fresh out of the packaging, we have Action Toys Bike Robo. I had to put this in here as a comparison for our good friend Rudy, and I owe you an apology, Rudy. It's been a while since we discussed doing some combiners type videos, which I am still planning to do, but in the meantime, Sakio's here. Yeah! Right, there he is. Ironhide fully transformed into his Nissan Cherry Van alt mode, fully flush all the way round, no gaps whatsoever. There are some panel lines obviously due to transformation. All the windshields and windows are all the same colour, which is really nice, and he cleans up really well. He looks exactly like he should. Little Autobot logo there will do the job. You get a little sunroof up the top there. The wheels roll. They are rubber tires. It's got the right yellow stripe across there, and rear lights, which is nice to see, as well as the front headlights. And yeah, I mean, underneath there's not too much given away. You can just about see the thighs in there, the pelvis, and these are the leg sections that have collapsed down. Don't get me wrong, transformation, as you probably saw, is a little bit of a faff. The first time I was doing it, I forgot a couple of steps because the instructions aren't the best, especially with regards to this front section here, which actually has to swivel on a swivel, and once you do that 360-degree swivel, then you can just apply it straight onto the fake chest for the robot mode version. And also for the legs, you need to collapse the legs and collapse them again within each other and then put it all together. And lastly, when you're folding all the panels up against one another, it does take a little bit of finesse and a little bit of cleaning up just to make sure you get it right. But once it's done, it looks excellent. What do you think? Just like the Generation 1 in my opinion. Alright, so once again here we have the lineup of our 5 through the Generations Ironhide characters based on the G1 incarnation of the character. We have Earthrise here on the end, which I mentioned has got some upgrades. So it's got upgraded wheels, it's got upgraded feet to finish off the look on the back there. Looks a lot cleaner. He and Hot Soldiers Ironhide, as well as the Siege version, share a lot of common traits, especially with regards to the way that the arms transform to make up all this section of the cab here. And I think that's true with Magic Square as well. They've taken some of that from the other manufacturers, possibly New Age. I haven't actually played with that figure at all. I've never had it in hand. But these two also have the same canopy as well that comes off, becomes a shield, and then obviously sticks back on. So it's a little bit of cheating, really. Whereas the Magic Square folds around and comes about from nowhere. When you're transforming him, you actually feel like, wow, the whole of the roof section has just expanded out from absolutely nowhere. It's really impressive. And then obviously you've got Generation 1, which still looks good in alt mode. Doesn't look terrible, although obviously you've got visible tank tread syndrome in the middle there, and the Siege mold, which, let's be honest, is not really based on the G1 incarnation of the character. I thought I'd just give you a quick view of the caboose, just because, you know, why not? But yeah, the rear end on the Magic Square version looks the best. Hot Soldiers, they didn't bother putting any stickers or anything on there, which is a bit of a shame, really. It doesn't finish the look. The Hasbro one also looks unfinished. Obviously they've got the bumper there on my additional extra piece, but yeah, it just doesn't come together. The G1 one actually looks quite nice with the chrome, and Magic Square's gone above and beyond with putting some tail lights. Hey. Alright, so for alt mode comparisons today, I have a Legacy drag strip on the left there, who is much wider than Ironhide, which makes sense. He's supposed to be, you know, a deluxe class from Hasbro in the Legacy line. We've got Magic Square 1.0 Prime, who scales quite well with Ironhide from a front-on view. New Age Prime, who's a bit narrow. The recent Magic Square Hound, which sort of works for me. Iron Trans's smokescreen looks pretty big. The New Age Outback, which is quite small in comparison. McFan's Toys is Hover, who's too large in comparison. The Magic Square Jazz, which looks bang on, and Hot Soldiers Prime Cab, which actually scales quite well, quite nicely actually with Ironhide. And then Siege Starscream, just because, and yeah, he's too big. Here's a nice side-on profile for you. You can see that Ironhide is just about the same length if you ignore the feet of New Age Prime's cab. So yeah, it seems a bit too small there. The the Jazz figure though works perfectly with him, I think. You know, the Porsche's a reasonably long car, especially with the wing on there, so it's actually slightly longer than Ironhide. But in terms of the height and the pure sort of density of Ironhide there, he looks the part. Right then, final thoughts on Magic Square's Ken. Ryu is on the way. I have been looking forward to this figure for a long time. If you were to ask me to describe Magic Square's Ironhide, I'd say he's a bit like Pepsi Max Not the original cola, but a million times better. I've been looking forward to the first real G1 incarnation of Ironhide that has not disappointed me, and it's taken 37 years, but we've got there. This little beauty is absolutely fantastic, and I just love it. I can't believe we've finally got one. Everyone should have one in their collection. Anywho, for another week, I've been Rohan on Rohan's Corner. Thanks for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed this Through the Generations review. Catch you again next week. Back to the studio.
Transformers, Rohan's in disguise.